Okay, so now Kathy is cooking up the meatloaf, and she said there's thyme in here. Why? Because Jessica doesn't usually use seasonings, but I'm learning. Now I'm using seasonings. So it smells really good.
It smells fantastic.
So I wanted to tell Kathy a story about how this morning I was listening to Rocky Mountain High by John Denver, and I known Rocky Mountain High, Colorado, but I never actually listened to the words. And this morning, the words were on my Alexa. I love that I can say Alexa out loud. Alexa, Alexa, and there's she's not listening. She can't start things because every time I say her name in my place, she starts talking. So anyway, I was reading the lyrics of the song.
It's fantastic.
And it just hit me. It's exactly what's happening in my life. But what's interesting is that the song is about a 27-year-old man who was basically reborn when he went out into nature. And here I am just, 3 days after my
39th
52nd birthday. And this year I have rediscovered, they always say do what you loved as a kid. And yes, I always wanted to be an actress when I was a kid. But what I loved the most was being at sleepaway camp and doing outdoorsy things and being on the lake. And as a really little kid, I used to always do adventures. We had a little pond down at the bottom of my street. And I would create treasure maps and do all kinds of explore things. I was really into the Hardy Boys back then. There were primarily girls in my neighborhood, and there were primarily boys in the neighborhood, and it was just me and my sister were the girls. So when we played Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew, one of the boys had to be Nancy Drew because my sister didn't want to play outdoors, and I didn't want to be a girl. I always had to be like Frank Hardy. I always had to be the more masculine guy. Like Dukes of Hazzard, I had to be Luke Duke. I couldn't be Bo. Which is weird. So I was a tomboy until I was 13, and then I became a girly girl. And now I want to do bougie stuff. And she's all tomboy. So I just thought it was really cool. And if you've never looked at the words to that song, and you've been drawn to my rebirth in my 50s. We're ready to eat? Okay. Ready to eat. But I just want to say that something that Kathy has been my web designer since 2008. She's created beautiful websites for me, and this is not an advertisement for her because we're trying to retire her from that. She's not going to do that anymore. She wants to live in a van and travel around and see her husband every once in a while. But
just every once in a while.
For me, something that I'm a career coach. I always have been, and she doesn't want to stop working. And something that really interests her is this over 50 group of women that are, our lives change after 50. Our bodies change, things happen physically and mentally, priorities change. I've got things going on with my parents now that I didn't have in my 40s. It's interesting. So something that she's going to do is she's going to help me learn in this next year in 2021 all about this van life. And eventually I'll have my own built out van. You'll see more to come. And while we're on the road,
I salt and pepper.
thanks you. It's yummy, doesn't it? I'll bring it over to show you. And while we're on the road, this is typically when Jessica would trip and the food would go flying. But while we're on the road, I'm going to, kind of flesh out with her what it is and how she is going to help women over 50 pursue dreams and passions and freedom, which is interesting because basically that's what she's teaching me. So we're going to be teaching each other during this 2021 tour. and we invite you to join us on our journey. All right, going to lunch.